Welcome to Inside Mental Health with Debbie. I'm your host, Debbie Mulder. Now, going to a counselor for the first time may feel overwhelming. On today's show, we're going to talk about what therapy is and breaking that stigma that goes along with seeking support. We have Sue Cook here from Family TLC, and she is the owner and operator and highly trained regulated professional supporting individuals, couples, and families. Sue is here with us today, and I am delighted to talk with her. So welcome, Sue. Sue, thank you so much for being with us today.
My pleasure.
So let's just jump right in and have this conversation. And I'm wondering, therapy is only a 7-letter word, but there's so much stigma associated with that word. In your opinion, is there a stigma and why?
Absolutely, there is a stigma for sure. And I think I'm seeing a shift, though. Like, I have to admit, we're noticing a difference in that stigma. So I sort of feel like if I say, 2019 back, or even the spring of 2020 back, there was a difference in people's mindset towards therapy. It's only for crazy people is a stigma that I've heard. If I go to therapy, maybe the therapist is going to tell me there's more wrong with me than what I actually think there is. So it's going to open up Pandora's box and I'm going to look like a complete crazy person. The therapist, if I go in for therapy, I'm opening up who I am. And that's a vulnerable place to be. And some people are very uncomfortable with that vulnerability. So there's also the kind of older stigmas of, it's my private life and my private world, and I shouldn't be talking to anybody else about it. And there's the stigma of, it's my problem and I should fix it, and I shouldn't need to work with somebody else to fix my problem.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. So when I think about therapy, I guess people have different ideas of what it is. So do you have a definition of what therapy is?
So at Family TLC, we have an acronym that we use for our guiding principles. And I'm not going to get into the acronym, the details of it, but we actually talk about our guiding principles. We use the word mirror, and each of those letters stand for something for our guiding principles. But the thing is that the reason why we picked mirror is because as a therapist, it's my job to build a relationship with you where you feel safe and secure. And then I'm to use my education and my skills to actually hold that mirror up to you in an angle that allows you, whatever that may be, to see your strengths inside of you, your resilience, your solutions. So the therapist isn't there to tell you how to orchestrate your life. The therapist is not there to give you the solutions or the key or the magic wand. They're there to actually collaborate and work with you on helping you to find the path through the struggles that you're experiencing. And the nice thing, I think, and I'm a bit biased because I'm a therapist and I run a business about therapy, so I'm a little bit biased maybe. The nice thing is that the therapist is bound by confidentiality. So that's even broader, like that privacy piece is huge. And if somebody comes in and tells us something that is really embarrassing or really scary for them, we don't run out of the room scared. We don't tell anybody else. And we actually have probably heard it before. And we believe in you and the therapy process to be able to help you figure out how you're going to resolve it or walk through it or become stronger and a better person for it.
I got to tell you, Sue, I mean, I'm a therapist, but that mirror analogy, I've never heard that before. That's exactly what it's about.
Yes.
What it's
Yeah.
about. And reminding people that this is a collaboration, right? This is, I'm not going to tell you what to do. We're going to collaborate together.
Right. For sure.
Wonderful. Who should seek therapy?
Well, it's interesting if you look at that. If you were to ask that question in other parts of the world, so if you were to go somewhere like Argentina, they would say, go to therapy. Everybody should go to therapy, and you should go once a week for all of your life, right? Our culture doesn't necessarily say that. We're starting to move more to the idea that it's part of psychological mental health adjustments, and go to have a person that can help you to learn about yourself more, to figure out how to navigate life more, and to prevent crisis, prevent, mental health issues, right? But I think as we're really being honest about, our culture and our society, Canada is got diversity of culture. So people are coming from different ways of looking at things, again, with that stigma of, it's my life and I should take care of it, all the way to that idea of I'm going to go to therapy regularly throughout my life. I think, so it's hard for me to pigeonhole and say a certain type of person or for a certain type of issue, because I'll be completely honest with you. I'm a therapist, been a therapist in private practice for just about 20 years, and I go for therapy, right? So
Me too.
some people may look at me from the outside, and maybe I'm reading what other people do actually believe about me. I'm not sure, but they might say, wow, you're well adjusted. You got it together. You have it figured out, right? But there's times where I run into things in life where I'm like, I don't get this, or I don't know what to do here. And they may not be major crisis kind of problems, but they're situations in which having the conversation with somebody else who knows how to have that conversation and understands the human psyche makes it easier for me. And then there's people who are really struggling with anxiety, depression, anger. So individuals who have had stress or PTSD, that's a really great time to go for counseling. Children who are struggling with anxiety or difficulty regulating their emotions or behavioral problems, or they're living through some difficult times, like their parents are separating or they've, lost somebody. That's a good time for kids to go. I think for parents, if you're laying in bed thinking about your kid and worrying about your kid, maybe that's a good time for a parent to go for counseling, to get some parenting strategies. And I know it's hard as a parent to go for counseling because you feel like a failure as a parent. But I actually disagree. I think you're stronger if you ask for help. You're wiser if you ask for help. So parents, and then relationships. We see a lot of people who are coming because they're having relationship struggles, whether that be with a parent, you're an adult and with your parent as an adult, whether it be with your partner, your life partner, whether it be with relationships with coworkers or whatever. I just really think it's amazing to me how we are relational beings. That's what we are. We need each other, but we don't have there's no rule book. There's no guide on how to have relationships, right? And they're complicated. They're not easy. So going and getting counseling if you feel like your relationship, you're struggling, or you don't know, it's not fulfilling enough, or you don't feel like you like how you're showing up in relationship. And anytime you go through a crisis, like a loss, you're grieving the loss of something, that's a good time to go for counseling. Or if you're just feeling stuck, totally stuck, and you just don't know which way to go or what to do, right? it's lovely for us to be able to work with clients in all of those areas, because there's so much that can happen to help people suffer less and get through things easier.
And one of my questions was going to be, what issues would somebody go to counseling for? And that's, you answered it right there. And I think it's safe to say anybody can go to counseling, right? Because anybody would experience any one of those issues that you've pointed out. So absolutely. Can you take us through what a first session would look like? If I were to say, I'm ready for counseling, I'm ready for therapy, what would a typical session look like?
So I'm just going to step earlier in the process a little bit for that. So, no matter who you reach out to for therapy, they're going to have a different process that they go through. So I'm going to just describe what we do at Family TLC, and it's not better or worse than anybody else. It's just how we do our services. So we offer a free intake, which is either over the phone or via email. And what we do in that intake, because we have a group of therapists at Family TLC, what we're doing in the intake with the clients is we're assessing for counseling readiness. We're trying to find out what's going on and who might be the best fit for the client. Because I think a lot of times, because you're going in to talk to somebody and it's going to probably be about personal stuff, you want to feel comfortable with that therapist, and having a good fit is really important. So we make sure at Family TLC that we do our best to just match you up with the right therapist who's a good fit for you. And a lot of therapists are really skilled at being able to meet people where they're at and can work with quite a range of people. But we just want to take that extra step. And then what happens at Family TLC is then you'll be sent an opportunity to complete some forms in advance. And that intake form, so to speak, is an opportunity for those that are nervous or not nervous, but just want to give a little bit more information than what's given in the intake for the therapist to read over. Some people fill those out and take for a long time to fill them out. And some people just do little bits and pieces. But there's questions in that intake form that we're required to ask. And as long as you choose to answer or not answer, at least we're asking those questions. And that allows the therapist to have information about you before you even come into the room. We also encourage people to take a look at the video or biography that we have, the bio that we have on our website. So they have a sense of the therapist before they come in. That helps to break down that barrier a little bit. And then when you come for your first appointment, the therapist is going to take care of some administrative type things first. So we are regulated professionals, and we are obligated to make sure that you are informed and are providing informed consent. So you understand how the process works, what our obligations are, all of that type of stuff. So that part is going to be the first part that the therapist is going to go over with you. And even though you may have seen that form, they still have to go over and make sure that you understand your privacy rights, when privacy, all of that stuff. And then the therapist is really going to, in the first session, what you want to look for in a therapist is at some point in that session, you feel like the therapist got something about you. So the therapist is going to spend time asking you a few questions, getting to know you, getting to understand you. But at some point in that first session, the therapist is going to say something that you're going to go, yeah, you get it. And that's kind of a test of, is this a good therapist for me? If they can do that in the first session, then you're going to feel seen and heard. You're going to feel acknowledged. You're going to feel like the most important person in the room. And so they're going to build that relationship and an understanding of you. And you also want to feel like there's unconditional positive regard in that first session. If you feel like you're being judged with the therapist, you're not in the room with the right person, right? You really want to feel that sense of acceptance. And you're going to be amazed at how quickly that first session is going to go by. It'll go by quite quickly because we are trained we go to university to figure out how to have these conversations and to make you feel safe and secure in the room.
That's awesome, Sue. And I love the point that you're making is that it's a relationship and you want to make sure it's a good relationship. It's just not going to be somebody that is going to just be there for the money. It's somebody that wants to build a relationship with you. And I love that you made that point. I think this is a good place to take a break. So we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk to Sue about Family TLC, the history, the services that you offer, and the staff that work there, and just get some more information about that. So we will be right back.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Welcome back to Inside Mental Health. We have Sue Cook here from Family TLC. We are talking about therapy, the stigma surrounding therapy, and Sue has done a great job of letting us know what therapy is about. So Sue, my next question to you though is, when should someone seek therapy?
So we see people seeking out therapy kind of from two different categories. One category is a crisis. Something has happened and they need help fixing that crisis for themselves, like a death or a relationship. Somebody said, I'm ending the marriage, or, the school is called and the child is, getting suspended or whatever, right? Like a crisis, and they want to fix that crisis. And then there's other people that come to therapy with kind of more of a growth kind of concept, like, I want my life to be better, or I want this situation to be different, and I want to make some long-lasting changes in my life. And they just kind of get to the point where, I'm ready to make some deep, serious, most effective changes in my life. So as much as I categorize those into two different categories, I think any time is a good time to pick up the phone and call.
And you've had clients who, thought it was a good time, and then they get in and they're not necessarily ready to do the work yet. So it's not as a one time, that's it. It's a come in when you want to, when you feel like you are ready.
And because I've been in private practice since 2001, I've seen people over that time period on and off. So it's not weekly counseling for life. Absolutely. It doesn't happen that way. But people will come because they're going through a separation, and then they're starting to date, and then they are blending a family, and then something else happens. And so people have come to see me over the last 15 or more years, and they might come once regularly for a bit and then drop off and then come back. And some people you see for one particular issue and they never come back. So it's a variety of that. It's really customized to you and your needs.
And I love that you had said, and this is a good thing to remember, is that it's not counseling for life. It doesn't have to be counseling for life. A lot of people think I'm going to be in counseling forever. Not necessarily that way.
Right. Yeah.
So you talked about private practice and being in private practice for almost 20 years. Why did you decide to open up Family TLC?
I had throughout my life, I had I had some things that happened to me that were very difficult. It was very hard, and I seeked out counseling. Didn't have positive experiences, and at that time, I probably would have thought you were crazy if you said I was going to open counseling. And then I had some positive experiences, and it just felt like the right thing to do. That my personality, my skills, my experience before private practice, it just felt like it fit really well for me. And because I've been through a lot of life experiences that haven't been easy, but I've come out on the other side with my own resilience. And I think I have a natural aptitude towards it. And I did the schooling. It just sort of felt like the right thing to do. And then as I did it on my own for quite a few years, I think probably about 9 years, I was a therapist and I was the only one who saw clients. Then at that point, I started thinking, I just want to help more people. You know, I'm very passionate about people want their life to be better and they need people to help them do that. And so it was probably around 2009, 2010, I thought, I have a lot of knowledge and experience as a therapist, and I want to share and mentor other people to be able to do that. And I want to help more people. And so it was at that point that I started thinking about expanding Family TLC to be beyond me. And then that's happened over that period of time. And I've learned a lot on teaching other people how to be really good private practice therapists. And I've learned a lot about running a business. But ultimately, I think my passion is about, we all deserve to have a good life, you know, and if you can find somebody or an organization that you can trust and you know that they're going to help you make your life better, then let's make it a business that is there and available to people.
Awesome. That's great. And I could see that you're so passionate about your work. I'm sure you have staff that are passionate about their work too. Can you tell me about their credentials and how many staff do you have?
So in order to be a therapist at Family TLC, you have to have a master's degree. So we have two categories, one a master in social work, and the other is a master's in counseling psychology. And then you have to be regulated. So you might, our therapists may belong to the College of Registered Psychotherapists, or they may belong to the Ontario College of Social Work and Social Service Workers. And that's regulatory bodies that are there to help the public make sure people are running, you know, things the way they are. And I think that's another part of what got me into running the business was I felt like therapists were alone. You know, when I was doing the therapy myself as a sole practitioner, I was just trying to help people, but also pay my bills. And it was really hard to connect with other therapists. And so I wanted to create Family TLC like it was a family for the therapist. So the therapist's not burnt out trying to offer the service. So, and then at Family TLC, we actually, we go through a pretty rigorous interviewing process. We look for certain types of aptitude, skills, personality types, and that type of thing, so that we can feel confident that any client that comes in front of that therapist is going to feel that positive connection. And then we also do a 1-year intensive training program. So when the therapist comes on with Family TLC, they go through our intensive training program as they're seeing clients, and they're supervised, go through that training program. And also there's we have group supervision as well. So we meet on a regular basis as a team once a week. And so we have social workers and psychotherapists. So we have male and female, and we have quite a diversity on our team because that's very important to us. So there's, you know, people that come from different ethnic backgrounds and religious backgrounds, and not, and spiritual and nothing, and, you know, sort of the whole thing. But I think the common thread is they're all committed to making lives better and to working with people to make lives better. We also have therapists that have different types of therapy that they use. And then in therapy, we call those modalities. So your listeners might know CBT or EMDR or DBT. These are just different types of therapies that use. So we really make sure that we have a variety of that as well. Not only because we want to offer that variety to our clients, but also because we want to make our environment rich. So if we have people from different understandings of therapy, they can offer that in the supervision with each other. And then we have an intake workers. So those are the people that offer that initial free intake that I talked about and match the therapists. We have a marketing person, we have bookkeeping. So we have quite a big team. And I would have to count on my fingers to give you the actual numbers. I think we have about 8 therapists now. And we have that support team, those employees that really are the scaffolding for the therapists. Because ultimately, I don't want any of my therapists burning out. I want them to do what they do well, and that's therapy, and not have to worry about all the other stuff, so they can come in, do their job, and do a great job with clients.
Wonderful. That's amazing. It's so great. And I assume that you see individuals, couples, do you see families?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. So we basically say, we were saying 3 to 93 because it was catchy. But we really sort of, children at the age of 5 is really the lowest we kind of go, even play therapy. It's hard for children to benefit a lot from therapy a lot younger than that. So 5 right up through, we have clients that are in their 60s or 70s. And then, yes, whether it's individuals, couples, children, teen, families, we see whole families as well. And then the presenting issues. We're also a safe space. So we work with the Gilbert Center. So we're also, done that training to make sure that we're a safe space.
Great. Thanks so much, Sue. We have the information that everybody will be able to see about Family TLC, and quickly about the app.
Yes, we just launched our Family TLC app. And it's just us taking all of the information that we have created over the years to be complements for people doing therapy. And Family TLC app, they can get it on the App Store or on Google Play.
Great. Thank you so much, Sue. I really appreciate you being here on Inside Mental Health. Thank you so much. And please remember that you are not alone. Let's help to erase the stigma of mental health together.